Alright, in this video I'm just gonna mention 2 problems I have with modern games, among other things, but this video is gonna just be these 2 things. First one is the crazy focus with realistic graphics. If we take, like, for example, Wukong Black Myth, like the latest game released, it is done with the Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5, it's clearly a very intensive, taxing engine that's all about realistic graphics. I mean, I don't have a problem with realistic graphics per se. It's just that I think they should fit the game they're trying to depict. In a fantasy setting like this one, I don't think our realistic graphics really do the job for the most part. It makes everything look samey, because when you use these types of engines, like the Unreal Engine, the graphics are inevitably are going to look similar to other games that use Unreal Engine 5. That's just how it is. And the problem is also that it's a fucking taxing engine. Like, you need pretty good specs to run it at decent frame rates, so that also dampens into the gameplay aspect, because lower frame rates, at least for a game that is more action focused, is definitely worse in that sense. But for example, take the same engine used in a game based off of a movie franchise like RoboCop, for example. I think that's when you should use these types of engines in games that should have realistic graphics, because a game that's taking inspiration, it's from a movie franchise, it should have movie realistic type of graphics. And maybe some other games too, like, I don't know, maybe stuff like Call of Duty, of course, that's heavy on realism. Those types of games. But fantasy games, action games in general, no, I don't think they should go for realistic graphics. I'm personally more the type of person who likes bright colors, high frame rates, simpler graphics, but graphics that look simple but good. Think, for example, the Naomi, the Sega arcade games of the 90s in 3D. So stuff like Virtua Fighter 2 to me still looks good to this day, because even though the characters are a bit low poly, I mean, they are low poly, the graphics are incredibly clean. The edges are plastered with anti-aliasing, so every edge is sharp, the colors are bright, the graphics are clean. Frame rates are, high, 60 FPS. But yeah, you get the idea. And that kind of graphics also were a major selling point on the Dreamcast for me. Like, just look at a game like Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, it still looks good to me. And it's been, at this point, more than 20 years. Because I think Soul Calibur came out in 1999, I think. So yeah, it's been more than 20 years at this point. So I just wish there were more software houses that went still for that kind of fidelity. So less detail, but more clean image, brighter colors, and all that stuff. Because nowadays everything has to be fucking realistic. Everything. Every fucking game that comes out has to be realistic, has to have realistic graphics. It's fucking garbage. The second problem is also that everything has to feel the fucking same. Like, there's only a few genre of games at this point being made. I mean, at least if you look at the AAA market. There's like third-person games, like the Resident Evil 2 remake. Now everybody is trying to replicate the Resident Evil 2 remake type of success, but it's not gonna happen, because the only horror franchise that sells well is Resident Evil. if you look at all the other attempts, Dead Space remake has underperformed. Yeah, I think it only sold 2 million, and for EA it's not enough, of course. Then there's a Silent Hill 2 remake, still not out, but honestly, it looks like any other fucking third-person game at this point. Just tell me what's the difference. The Alone in the Dark, whatever, reboot also flopped. So they're just trying to go for that. As soon as someone comes up with something that's successful, everybody tries to get a piece of the pie. But of course, it's not gonna always work. And so the third-person games, a la Last of Us. Then the other big contender are FPS games, like Destiny, of course, Call of Duty. And the third genre that's very, very popular now, it's Souls types of games. So the way I like to call them, Souls slop, roll slop. Those kind of games that take inspiration heavily from like the From Software games. So like think for example the Lies of P, or whatever. I mean, Black Myth of Wukong is also kind of a Souls game, even though it has its own spin, but it's very reminiscent. I mean, at least looking at the videos, it just doesn't look that original to me. It looks very samey. So that's the other big problems. Games are not being made with originality in mind anymore. They all look like they are copy pasted. And of course there's gonna be variations in between, like those three genres I mentioned, those three archetypes. Just put some types of variations like open world into it, or like put a gacha variation into it, like Genshin Attack, whatever the fuck that name is. Genshin Impact, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the whole AAA market nowadays. Indies, I mean, I don't know. Indies are some indies are okay, but for the most part they look all like low effort, mediocre games to me. So, some are nice, but the vast majority are not worth your time, in my opinion. Like, if you want to play a game like the older Resident Evil titles, you have to go for an indie title. Because Capcom is not doing them anymore. Nobody else is doing them anymore. Everybody ditched them to do those fucking third-person games that look all the same. I don't have a problem with that type of camera per se. It's just that everybody goes for the same sensibilities. Everybody has the fucking slow-ass movement. Like, it has to be realistic. The realistic graphics. The pushing puzzles. Like, you have to push the garbage dump to climb. Like, go for something a little bit original. Because that's not enticing me to play your fucking game. That is actually putting me off from it. But yeah, this is just it, because honestly it's atrocious. The variety of games is just non-existent at this point. Just go look back at the time where the PS2, Xbox and GameCube and Dreamcast were a thing. And also the start of the 360 gen. Just go back and look at those times and see all the variety of games that were coming out and compare it to now. It's always the same fucking 3-4 type of games with slight variations between them. It's ridiculous. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, because you know, it's always good to hear. And I'll catch you in the next video, which probably will be, I think, I don't know. I think I'll release a Sonic video this week. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I don't know. We'll see. It takes time to do stuff, so I have a life as well. And also I'm not paid to do this. But yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.